Good morning. Welcome to TERRA at Home. I'm here with Hillary at the Goemans location, at the nice new look Goemans location in St. Catharines. Beautiful store here. And we're kind of hanging out in the kitchen area right now because we want to talk about, and we often talk about this on the show, is the less space. People have smaller and smaller spaces that they're living in, inside and outside right now. So often we talk about gardens that are smaller or living on a patio, but we're talking about also smaller kitchens. And you still want to have all of the wonderful amenities in your life, like coffee makers and ovens and things like that. But for some reason, somehow, we've managed to make this happen, and it's almost even better.
Yeah,
right?
Condensing it down and still having the same use.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
So we're looking behind us here, and we have a whole bunch of appliances. Actually, in fact, if we look at this entire wall here right now, just completely stacked. And this can be an average kitchen in someone's condo or apartment.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so let's start from the top here with this awesome coffee maker, which
coffee
everybody needs in
maker's-
their life.
Oh yeah, how do you not? First thing in the morning, that's the first thing you want to do. You have the option of going through many different types of coffee. You don't have to go down to Starbucks. You've got it right here at home. So with this unit, you can do your lattes, you can do your cappuccinos, your macchiatos, your espresso, and it's all condensed into that little small 24-inch space.
So cool, it's all computerized, and it is the easiest. It's basically just a press of a button, right?
Yeah,
so what
absolutely.
do you make one for us right now?
Sure. Let's
Maybe
try
just flick across. What do I feel like this morning?
a
I love
latte.
it. How cool. And again, it's just so easy. This door does open, so you can access it from the back, but everything is from the front. So you have your steamer, your milk frother, everything.
Doesn't have to be plumbed, or it could be plumbed if you need it to be. Depends on what works for you in your kitchen. Because a lot of the times we're working with spaces that you can't plumb over to, right? So what you're doing is filling the reservoir, and then it's dispensing right from there. So open the door, pull out the coffee that you want, and off you go.
And there can be upfront costs with this, but in the end, as you say, you're saving from going from your local
$6
coffee
a day coffee,
to you end up to have a few of these before you leave the house in the morning, or
right.
take one along with you. So this makes it really easy, and I love the choice in coffee too. So also great for entertaining.
Absolutely.
You know, you're in smaller kitchens, but somehow they manage to make it still a great space. The way they design these now, very open concept, so you're still being able to entertain, having people in your kitchen, and you're just whipping off coffee after coffee, right?
Yeah,
so,
and everybody can have their own thing. You're not saying, here, you only have this option.
Right, not throwing on a pot of coffee anymore.
That's right.
So we've come so far. We're so Euro.
Yeah,
Right? So let's go down and let's move to this little guy here. So we're looking at these smaller ovens, but explain to me exactly what this one gives us.
So this piece is actually a steam convection oven. So you have the option of just doing a convection setting.
Sure.
So let's say you wanted to roast something, you could absolutely do that in there. Or you could do steaming, like vegetables, grains, that kind of thing.
Right.
And it also has the combination of the two, meaning we've just taken convection and steam and brought it together.
How awesome. Let's open this up and show everybody.
For
I love the
sure.
handle.
So in here we have some asparagus
Very nice.
that we've laid out for us. But you have many different options, rack layers and that, so you could actually have a full meal all in one.
Unbelievable. And you were saying, with this small space that you're dealing with, we actually have more racks you can fit in here than you can in some of those big giant ovens that we work with.
A traditional 30-inch oven does not fit as much as what it will in here.
Wow.
So you can place in your meats, so maybe it's your fish, your rice, your 2 different veggies, and it's all going in at the same time and essentially coming out.
I love
together.
that. I love the steaming idea too.
So great.
More and more people are doing that for health benefits. But you're also, I mean, you have to be using less energy when you're only heating up something this small.
Right. Rather than a couple pots on the cooktop and something in the oven, it's all in one.
Sure. So this is especially great in the warmer months, you know, when you are cooking in your kitchen still and not out in the barbecue. You do have, you know, the option of just keeping things nice and tight and small, and less, as you say, on the stove. So
That's right.
All right. So now let's go down to this one down here.
So this unit is a speed oven.
Okay.
Similar size to that of what you just saw with the steam oven here. But what it's going to do is microwave functions as well as convection. So the combination of the two there. So you could just microwave.
Right.
You could just do convection, but it suits the needs of both. If you wanted just a wall oven and a microwave and you only had space for maybe just one of these units, that one would do it just as well as this one would.
Sure. You could just have this one.
Exactly.
Some people have a hard time getting rid of the microwave.
That's right.
And you'll see that nowadays where you'll see like double ovens or whatever, and the microwave's just obsolete. But with this having an option to be a microwave, then people still have that.
Yeah.
You know, just,
and one of the neat things too is the steam ovens do have the option now of using it as a microwave. So reheating with steam. which is really cool.
See, you would know this because you work at Goemans.
That's right.
All the technology is ever changing. I love coming in here because it's just amazes me when you come in, all the new products that are constantly coming out, just constantly upgrading themselves and getting smaller and smaller and smaller and more efficient.
Condensing and having everything tightened all together and being able to use it exactly how you want it to.
Right.
And maneuvering it through your life. So it may not just be a microwave, it may be just a convection unit, it may be
so I remember my parents had like the first microwave in the neighborhood when I was really, really small. It was giant. My brother and I were putting things in it all the time and heating stuff up, and it was so exciting, but it was basically the size of this kitchen. So look how far we've come.
That's right.
And so you can still have a beautiful kitchen, very fully functional kitchen.
That's right.
But having everything, but without taking up appliances, taking up everything.
That's right, especially with those condos. So you've got one strip of a wall that you need to work with, right? So
some condos are so small.
That's right.
So it'd be really helpful to people coming in that don't even know that this is on the market right now to be able to stack all these and have all the amenities that you need. Because as we look at this whole picture, as I mentioned off the top, you do have everything along this wall that you need. So you have your fridge, and you also have these fridge drawers type of thing as well, don't you? Here.
Yeah.
Explain how those work.
Drawers are going to give you the option of either fridge on the top and freezer on the bottom, which is great because then you have it all in one.
Neat.
They come in various sizes, so 24 to 30.
Okay.
And then essentially you could do that as fridge. So let's say you wanted to pair that in with your kitchen and have maybe a stacked tower of just a fridge and that as well, you could do that. But in smaller spaces, sometimes we're not seeing uppers at all. We're just seeing lowers. So everything can be along the bottom, including these ovens.
Oh, wow.
Right? So just a banquette, nice and clean. Don't have to view it, it's not that visible.
That's smart.
They can be paneled so you don't see it and it looks like drawers.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Like, how we can enclose a TV in a room and not even know it's behind there.
That's
so again, you're cleaning up the lines on your kitchen, I guess, especially if you are dealing with smaller spaces, right?
Exactly.
But the idea of having, some people, if they're only on their own or just two people, they don't need a giant fridge. So then it gives the option of not having to use as much, right?
That's right, exactly.
Wow, the options out there are unbelievable to me. So, we're all obviously looking at a very high-end company here. This is, quality plus. But other companies do make these, and they come in greener versions and all type, right?
That's right, absolutely.
Yeah, so
different price points depending on the needs and the functionality of it. Yes.
So that's good to know because people will look at me and go, oh, wow, because that's an awesome company. But it's good to know there are options out there for everybody.
Exactly.
And, it just makes your life so much easier.
That's right.
I love this. So this is fun. So again, we're looking at steamer ovens. We're looking at the fact that you can have a microwave that can be this tiny. Things don't have to be that big anymore. And love coming down to St. Catherine's store. Yeah. So we want to remind people that ours are down here right off the highway. And obviously we like to visit the Hamilton store as well. But here we are. We have this beautiful store, and it is awesome. And you guys, I know, are very helpful and can kind of get people on the right track if they are moving in, maybe empty nesters moving into a small space.
Yeah, there's a lot of retirees that are coming down, have their summer homes here as well. So
we can help them out.
Absolutely.
Get them into smaller appliances, but just as efficient.
Exactly.
Thanks so much, Hillary. Good stuff. That's it for now. We'll have more TERRA at Home to come.
Live color fully at TERRA, where color lives.
Heritage perennials. Look for us in the blue pots.
Good morning, welcome to TERRA at Home. I'm here with Marco from Freeman Herbs, and this is a great topic for us to talk about. We're now having a really great time in summer. Our herbs have really grown in our gardens, and we want to know what to do with them, right? So we need to talk about lots of ideas. I mean, obviously we know we like to throw them in some drinks and cook with them, but our herbs will be nice and full and plentiful.
And full of flavors. It's the best time of the year with the heat, they're really full of aromas, and we have to try and preserve those aromas and keep them because we get to a point now where we either have to bring them inside if they're not planted in the garden,
Right.
or harvest them and then use them, preserve them in some way, either
Right.
with butter or with oils or freezing them.
And that's great. So that's what we're going to talk about, is some of the alternatives today. Because when we're looking at herbs being in our garden, say we did actually plant them into the ground, are we able to bring those back into the house?
Well, no, because the roots will be already well developed in
Right.
the ground. So if we pull them out, the plants will suffer
done.
and will definitely die.
I see.
So if they are in the garden and you want to have some herbs inside the house, then you would have to get new pots.
Right, exactly. So
Yeah.
we're a ways away from that right now, but what time of the season, once we get into the fall, should we be thinking about pulling these herbs, and obviously before the first frost?
Yes, obviously. But as I said, if you have pots, as soon as the fall temperatures they start to
cool?
drop, I think it's better to start to bring them in as well, because the plant needs some time to adjust. So if you go from extreme cold to the warmth in the house, then it will be again the plant will suffer and you can get diseases developing.
Right.
You see, the spores of the diseases are in the air, so you don't have, the plant doesn't have to be already sick, but
Right.
you can bring it in the house and
And
get
all of a
infected
sudden,
in the
right?
house. Yeah.
Isn't that something people don't think about that? But all of a sudden you're like, what's going on with my plant?
Yes.
So you do have to make that adjustment.
Yep.
Okay, so we do. Let's go back to harvesting these plants right now
Yeah.
and using the herbs at the high time of their season and some of the options. So we talked first about, let's talk about drying our herbs.
Yes. Okay. Well, to dry the herbs, the best way is to put them in an oven on a very low temperature. I would say 60 degrees Celsius, 140 Fahrenheit.
Okay.
It can be up to 70, but if you use higher temperature, then you actually bake the leaves.
You're baking
so,
them.
and when you bake the leaves, all the nice aromatic oils that are in the leaves, they will dissipate and
you're left with no
and
flavor.
you're left exactly without flavor.
Okay, so very low and slow.
Yes.
So for how long then?
Well, it normally depends on the content of water. For example, basil will take longer than rosemary or thyme.
Sure.
And
Okay.
I would say that it takes for a minimum of 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, to even up to 3 hours.
Wow.
And
Okay.
yeah.
So you got to be patient, but it's
Yes,
worth it in the
it's
end because
worth it.
you're drying your own herbs, no preservatives, nothing in there.
Yes.
You're in control. So
One-
you're suggesting parchment paper, right?
Parchment paper, and there is one thing that is very important as well. When you put them in the oven, you need to leave the door slightly ajar, because that humidity that comes out of the leaves have to go somewhere. So it will dry faster because
Okay.
it's very low, and it will keep the color better. It will stay greener because the
tip.
humidity inside will make them a little bit dark.
Okay.
So low temperature, door a little bit ajar, and then you can, because it's so low the temperature, you can actually put your hand inside and crumble the leaves. If you see the leaves crumble, it's
Done.
ready. If it doesn't crumble,
Great.
then you have to wait.
Amazing, that's great. Okay, so we have the parchment paper you suggest, not
Yeah.
aluminum foil, because you said it again.
Yes, it gets too hot, and then
hot.
the part that touches, so the bottom part of the leaves can get baked. So the other things is very important when you get the herbs. It's just that when you take the leaves, you get the leaves whole, and then you put them side by side without touching.
Okay.
So let's say you put them like this in a oven dish,
Yes.
and then when it's
Lay them all out.
lay them all out nicely. Don't overlap them, because if you
Okay.
overlap them, they will stick. They will
Okay.
not dry properly.
Do you have to wash them first?
Well, it depends. I personally don't wash the herbs because our herbs are Freeman. We don't use any chemicals on our herbs, and they are most of the times. If you wash the herb, it will lose something. So you want to preserve all the flavors. So if you have good quality herbs like these that you can buy at TERRA from Freeman Herbs,
Yes.
then
You don't have to worry
you
about
don't
it.
have to worry about it. If there is some soil, you can just brush it off.
Sure.
Yeah, because it's not
Because
not
they're all
dirt,
natural
yeah.
and clean and growing the way they should, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we move from drying. I noticed you have some herbed butter here.
Yes, yes. This is one of my favorite way to use the herbs. You can put as much butter as you want. I put very little butter, mostly
Mostly
herbs. Yes, because I don't want the fat, I want the flavor.
Right.
When you put it in butter, there is one thing that you will notice.
Ooh, look
it
at that.
it doesn't become dark. And if you can put it in your freezer, and then when you need it, let's say you cook a steak on the barbecue, you just have a slice, you put it on the barbecue, and it melts nicely, and all the herbs and all the flavor is in there.
Beautiful.
And the oil in the fat of the butter will preserve completely the flavors.
And and we've been doing this with Chef Mark from La Piazza Allegra, was doing some of these herbed butters, and it's such a great idea because you can really think outside the box and think of the combination of flavors that you love.
Exactly.
And use it for so many different ways, and so why not? And what one did you do there?
Oh, I did this like last week, but it's I make a lot of it.
Oh, yeah.
And then I keep it, and it keeps over. If it's frozen, it keeps over a year.
How
it's
awesome
no
is
problem.
that?
And and it's as I said, I put very little butter. If you can see, it's mostly herbs, so that you don't have to add fat to your food when you cook it. And you can put it as well in your sauces. If you have a sauce, you just have a little bit of butter. Basil, and you put it in there, and that's
Perfect.
it. Yeah.
Now we also have ice cubes as well, so we were using this really cool little device that we have here, and being able to freeze your herbs in water, so you can make ice cubes to add to
Yes.
drinks.
Again, this will preserve the color. If you can see, the color of the herbs stay well, and it's a very good way to use it because you can put it into sauces. They melt. You just add water to the sauce. So it depends on what sauce it is. So you use the butter where you want fat, or you use that if you have to actually add a little bit of water to make the sauce a little bit more more runny.
Or herbed oils as well.
Or herbed oil, yes. For the oil, you have to be very careful because oil. Bacteria do not grow in oil. So when you preserve herbs have got a lot of water content. So you don't want to keep that water in the oil. So you need to avoid washing them if you put them inside. And after you infuse the oil, you drain it. Now, you have two ways that you can do this. You can either heat up the oil, and if you heat up the oil, it's never bring it to the boiling point. Just up to when you start to see little bubbles coming up, then you add the herbs inside and you let it cool down.
And
after
always
it's
remove
cooled down,
those herbs.
then drain it, and then you can put it in a nice decorative bottles that will remind you. And and then just to put, if you want, one leaf inside, very dry, just to see it.
Very good. Oh, so many fun tips. Beautiful herbs. Thank you so much for coming in, Mark. We
You're
appreciate
very
it.
welcome.
And lots of great things to do with your beautiful gardens right now. So get out there and farm your herbs. Get out there. All right, that's it for now. We'll have more to come.
Live color fully at TERRA, where color lives.
You've sat under them and built forts in them. You've swung from them and fell out of them. You've even fallen in love under them. Trees have always held a special place in our hearts and memories. A natural beauty, trees will grow with you and your family and bring color and nature into your world. For your assurance of quality, look for trees and shrubs with the Medallion plant tag. Medallion plants, locally grown, the pride of Niagara.
Good morning. Welcome back to TERRA at Home, out in this beautiful day with Chef Mark from La Piazza Allegra Restaurant in Hamilton. And we like to do it the Italian way all the time when you're in our neck of the woods. So we brought ourselves a really amazing Italian outdoor oven that we have available here at TERRA, and you're going to show us how to use it.
We are. Yep. We're going to go through this. It is a fantastic oven, and anytime you have an opportunity to get a true wood burning oven, pizza, it is outstanding compared to anything that goes in your oven. You get that nice smokiness about it. It cooks at a different temperature. Like your oven just can't get as hot as those pizza ovens get. So we're going to do a loaf of bread, and we're also going to make a pizza.
Fun. Perfect.
All right.
And it cooks a lot faster too because of the higher temperature, right?
That's right. So we have our pizza dough here. Now, Pizza dough is really simple. Simple ingredients. You've got salt, flour, we've got dry yeast, okay? And some people put a little olive oil into it, other people don't, okay? So you can put a little bit of olive oil into your dough.
Okay.
It is better to make pizza dough the night before,
Right.
okay? And then what we end up doing is we put it into a bowl, and then we'll oil the outside of it and just leave it in the fridge covered,
Okay.
okay?
Yes.
So let's get some flour onto this, and we'll get it all rolled out.
And you also recommend just trying to make your dough yourself. I know I'm always afraid to make my own dough, but go for it because it's really easy, isn't it?
It is easy. It's just those simple ingredients. And what we'll do is I'll get the recipe and we'll get it up on the website.
Perfect.
But pizza dough is one of the simpler doughs to make. The dough that we have over there is our dough for our bread at the restaurant. So that's a little bit more complicated.
Oh, your bread is so good too.
Thank
I
you.
love it. Start dinner with that, and you're so full by the time you get to your pasta. I love it. You just want to eat it all.
Yeah, it is a nice dough. And we put some chilies in there. We got some basil in there. That one's got some salt, a little bit of sugar. It's a little bit more complicated, but pizza dough,
Yeah.
pretty straightforward stuff.
Yeah.
Yeast, salt, water, and flour. And you want dry yeast for pizza dough.
Okay.
All right?
Yep.
So we're going to roll out a fairly large one. Now, when you heat up the pizza oven, you do want it up around, 300 to 350 degrees Celsius, or about 600 to 700 degrees Fahrenheit. You do want to cook it fairly quickly.
Okay.
This one, we're going to add some olive oil. So we're making a caprese.
Which is a nice, simple, straightforward pizza.
Simple, straightforward.
But once you try it, I mean, generally everybody loves it. It's
Yeah.
really nice to have great light pizza in the summer.
Very light. Very, very light. So we're going to throw some olive oil onto that.
So not too much, right? Just
No,
enough to cover.
just brush it. And then we're going to add some salt. This is sea salt that we're adding.
Okay.
Excuse me. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the tomatoes on, and then we're going to put the cheese on, but we're not going to put the basil that normally goes on your caprese. We're going to do that once it comes out of the oven.
Okay.
So we'll get this all sliced
That way,
up.
I guess it doesn't.
You don't want it to burn.
Burn it and-
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. You still want to retain that nice flavor that you would have.
So these are Roma tomatoes, right?
These are Roma
Yeah, okay.
tomatoes. Yeah. So I'll take that off.
Looks very good. Now, so again, you're keeping the crust pretty thin here, right?
This is a thin crust, yes.
Yes.
And you want to do that if you're using a pizza oven, you don't want a really thick crust. If you're going to do a flatbread, then it's a different story. But for pizzas, keep it fairly thin. It cooks faster, more evenly, and it just tastes better. It gives it a real nice crispiness to it. So.
And people have this thing about pizza that sometimes it's just, it's kind of it's bad for you, it's junk food or the thing, but it doesn't have to be.
No.
You see, if you're doing it really thin crust like that, and you are just adding vegetables, and it's when you do a big, thick, white, doughy bread like pizza with
Heavier
tons of meat on
pizzas.
it or something, that's when it's not good for you. But this
That's
is
right.
This is awesome. And tomatoes in the summertime, use them. You're gonna have lots, right? The tomatoes
gonna
just
have
grow
lots
up plenty.
of tomatoes.
You've already shared them with your neighbors in your street, so use them as much as you can.
Now we got some buffalo mozzarella. And I'm just going to spread this out all around the pizza.
And again, the perfect combination, of course, the basil, the tomatoes, the mozzarella. It's like a salad on a pizza.
It doesn't have to be even. It will melt and it'll spread out for you.
I think what's great about having one of these sort of wood oven pizza grills out in the backyard, ovens, I should say, is again, you could just be firing off these pizzas, make a whole bunch of them, and if you have
Yep.
people over, because they cook so quickly,
They
you
do
could
not.
be serving all different types. And it's
That's
just
right. They really don't take a lot of time to cook in those pizza ovens. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to score our bread here, and I'm going to fire it into the oven.
Okay.
So the oven itself has a stone on the bottom. Oh, she's already started to proof on here.
Yeah,
so
it's the thing. We're sitting out in the sun here, so.
we're sitting out on the sun. If it ever happens, all you have to do what I'm doing with the knife. You know what? We're going to add a little extra flour on this, and I'm
Sure.
going to move it to the front
Let
half.
it slip off. Yep.
There you go. Slide it into the oven, right onto that stone. And then you do have a couple extra grills that you can put into the oven.
Okay.
So if you wanted to do other things, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the bread off on the lower half. I'm going to
Right.
put the pizza in the lower half as well.
Okay.
And then once the bread firms up, I'm going to move it up to the rack because I don't want the bottom to burn. And the bread, because it's thick, it's going to take some time to cook.
Okay.
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 But there's other things you can do in there. You can always put a skillet in there, throw some chicken wings or even a steak, put it on nice and high and fire it in.
So you can use this for a lot of different things. You're not
Definitely.
just making a pizza here. So.
Definitely. I'm going to throw more flour on this because it is warming up out here.
Yes, it sure is. It's hard when we take you out of your controlled kitchen, Mark, and throw these things at you. Our setup, we set up for a while, and you're not used to having to leave your food sitting out like this, and as we're doing what we're doing. And you're in a garden area here, surrounded by people
throws you
shopping for
challenges.
flowers. We just like
Come
to
on
test
out
you.
here.
We like to test you.
There we go. And I'd have to adjust this one because it does not want to come off this board.
Always good times, right?
There we go.
There we go.
Now we're going to adjust this,
And then you have to get it back off of there.
and then we're going to hope it slides back off. And if not, we're just going to go in.
We'll go with the flow. Great part about these ovens is you can use them for so many things, and they cook so quickly. I guess you just have to get used to working with 700 degree temperatures.
Yeah, you just have to, you really got to keep an eye on the oven until
Yep.
you get used to the way it cooks, because every oven does cook a little bit differently. I mean, we got a day out here that's a little bit windy, so it's going to pump out some good heat.
Oh, okay. Good tip. All right, we'll be right back after this break, and it'll all be done.
Live color fully at Terra, where color lives. Welcome back to Terra at Home. Outside, working with our lovely wood oven and
Wood oven.
Chef Mark.
Yeah.
And we have our bread and our pizza done.
We do. The pizza is done. I'm going to get that out.
And again, cooking a lot faster than it would in your home oven because of the high temperatures. That looks great.
And there we go.
Yummy.
And we'll take out the loaf of bread as well.
Okay. Very good.
There we go. So,
And so this is our caprese pizza. So of course
caprese pizza. Now you can see how you got a nice crisp crust on that. It's nice and firm. Everything's melted. Tomatoes are soft. We're going to throw on our basil here.
That's good.
And then, if you can pass me that balsamic, I have
Sure
an
you will.
aged balsamic vinegar. Now, I wouldn't use regular balsamic, but the
No.
aged one's got some nice sweetness to it.
Oh yes, my fave.
And I just drizzle that right on top of that whole thing. And then we'll cut her up. And we're good to go.
Very good.
Nice crispy pizza.
So again, you can use this oven for so many things, not just for pizza. You can even bake pies and cookies in it and use it all year round. So that's the best part about it. And if we had you around doing it, that would make it even easier for everybody. We'll just sit around and have a glass of wine and watch you cook. Would that
No
be nice?
problem. We'll make a whole bunch of them.
So again, the breads, and you can just,
Sear steaks, anything you want in there, but obviously baked goods are the best.
so you just have to kind of experiment a little bit and know
Yep.
that you're dealing with higher temperatures, lower cook times,
That's right.
and just be careful with it all. So lay out a bunch of pizzas, have a bunch of people over, and just throw them all in.
Just
and
mix
you
'em
can,
up.
as you
Yeah.
mentioned, cook a lot at the same time in there too.
You can.
So.
You know what? The other thing you can do if you're doing parties, throw this out there, throw all the ingredients, let everyone make their own, and then just start firing them in
Way
one after
better.
another.
Less effort for the host, right?
That's right.
Very good. Thank you, Chef Mark. That's it for now, and we will see you next weekend. Have a good one.